You're listening to Cinematic Adventures, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
Good morning, Vietnam!
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I feel the need for speed.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Badges? We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
You make me want to be a better man.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
Love means never having to say you're sorry.
He's looking at you, kid.
I've always depended on the kindness of strangers.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Would you be shocked if I put on something more comfortable?
You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
One.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cinematic Adventures. If you're listening to us on the go, you can catch us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else you can get your podcasts. I am Sean. I am one of your hosts, and I am talking to you through the Zoom today with our co-host, Paul. Paul, how are you?
Talking to you through the Zoom.
Talking to you through the Zoom. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You just, you're not answering me. Come on, man.
There is a delay, and if
we're on a time crunch here.
There is a delay, and if I answer too quickly, we overlap. Dick.
Yes, we are talking with the Zoom, so it will be a bit of a delay reaction from Paul, which is always fun.
I hate you.
Yes, I know, but it's a lovable hatred.
Is it though?
All right, so hopefully everyone out there is doing well. If you haven't, catch our last episode where we, what did we talk about? I don't even remember.
Underworld, dear.
Underworld, there you go. See, I just put it out of my mind.
We liked most of that franchise.
No, I meant talking in the podcast. I put it out of my mind. I just don't remember. I have a bad memory.
Why do we do this?
No, why do we do this? For fun.
Yeah, having so much fun.
Really?
No.
Nah. All right. Well, before we lose Paul, let's jump into what we're talking about this week.
Is that are you taking a shot at me on that one?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Is somebody from the grassy knoll taking a shot on me at that one?
Oh, well done, sir. Well done. So I've been actually asking Paul to do this episode for a while, and totally understand where Paul's coming from. This is a movie that is, A, it's like one of the longest movies out there. B, it's a tough movie to sit through and watch, on a regular basis. And that is the 1991 conspiracy film JFK.
What does that stand for?
And JFK. Oh, that stands for John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
I thought it was just freaking kidding.
Haha. No, that's for one of our many United States presidents. The reason I wanted to talk about this movie now was we are actually, at the time of recording, are a week away from the 60th anniversary of the assassination. Now, obviously, Paul and I are way too young to have been around at that time, but in talking to folks who were alive at that time, I mean, for us, it's where were you on 9/11? But for the generation before us, it's, where were you when JFK was assassinated? Obviously, one of the darkest times in this country's history. And, it's a subject that over the last 60 years has really garnered debate for many people. Whether you believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, whether you believe, there was a conspiracy or more people were involved. The discussions can get heated when talking about this subject. I believe actually you and me talked about this on a previous episode, not of Cinematic, but on
MF Uncensored. Yeah, we did a whole we did Conspiracy Theory Month, and I believe JFK was definitely at least a topic. I don't know if we did a whole episode. That's a thing I can easily check that. So just keep talking, Sean.
Oh, okay then. But so I can speak for me. I first saw this movie about 20 years ago. It was, one of the many movies I was renting from, the video store. And this movie just blew me away from the first time I saw it. I had seen other Oliver Stone films before it: Platoon, Born on the Fourth of July, Wall Street. But I had not seen this one yet, and oof, I mean, this movie took. I don't want to say it took over my life for a couple months, where like I was really into reading all books about the conspiracy, looking for any type of documentary there was. But it was a solid couple months there where like this was a huge movie for me, and really wanted to dwell deep more into it. How about you?
We did do a whole episode of MF Uncensored on this, just so you know.
On the movie or just the
on JFK,
actual assassination?
On the actual assassination.
Okay, but we're going to be talking about the movie, so
I was just you mentioned it, so I was just clarifying.
Okay.
God, you're being a real Lee Harvey Oswald today. I don't know. Maybe he was really nice in real life. Who knows?
I don't know how to take that, but okay.
Well, I'm not a United States president, so I'm not going to be taking that.
Okay.
You get it? It's like
So how about you? When did you first see this movie?
Probably not till college, I'll be honest. I was not, like, growing up, I was not big into the true life movies, the real life type or based off of true events type movies. I was like, hey, where are the explosions and the superheroes? Bang, bang, pow, pow. That was a lot more,
that's fair.
A lot more my speed, but I actually watched this in a class that I was taking in college. We watched this movie, and it was Controversial Criminal Cases, and this was one of the movies that we watched during the course of that class. One of my favorite classes, not because of the movies. The movies were just a benefit. But for me, like, this kind of opened up the floodgates to other movies, like Hollywoodland's another one, very kind of similar vein. There's one more, I don't remember. Well, like movies like The Black Dahlia, stuff like that. So for me, like, I definitely did not watch this movie until I was well into college age, and that's like the perfect time to really start getting into conspiracy theories. Because when you're like an old dude just yelling out conspiracy theories, you're usually just racist. But like when you're a younger, like, people listen to you more if you're younger. Like, tell me I'm wrong. Sean's trying so hard not to laugh out loud, but his face is one of exasperation and amusement in that order. Lucky for him, my energy drink just kicked in, so I miss Ray's.
Oh, Paul's lively now. Yes.
I'm so tired. Don't even. Shut up. But anyway, so tell me I'm wrong though. Like if a dude, like an old dude, is just spouting conspiracy theories, they're either senile or probably racist.
It's like Grandpa Simpson from The Simpsons, kind of like
get off my lawn.
Back in my day,
I just think of Clint Eastwood from, what was that movie he was in where like the neighbor kid's black?
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino, yeah. And like it's all just memes of him just looking so done with everyone. Clint Eastwood, what a guy. Or you're in college and you're just spouting off conspiracy theories, watching Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, there you go. Well, like as Paul said earlier, if you want to listen to the two of us talk more in depth about the actual, events and the conspiracies around it, definitely catch that on Uncensored. That had to have been like a couple months ago, right?
About 2 months. We did a whole conspiracy theory month before we started doing interviews again.
All right. So yeah, so it's in the vault of the MF Uncensored, so definitely check that out. We're going to focus today mainly on the 1991 Oliver Stone film, which in its own right has garnered so much controversy over the last 32 years since it was released back in 1991.
Also, for the record, we were like 5 when this movie came out.
Yeah, no, we were obviously way too young to see this movie, but 1991 was a if you look back on 1991, it was a big year for movies. I mean, you had Silence of the Lambs, you had Beauty and the Beast, which was also nominated for Best Picture of the Year, the first animated movie ever to do that. So it was definitely a big year in the movies and the awards season. This movie was, I think, kind of like the front runner for most of the awards seasons to win big awards, but Silence of the Lambs just kind of came out of the woodwork and really just took over.
Have we ever done? Did we do an episode on Silence of the Lambs?
Have to assume we did, but I also can't remember what I did yesterday. So
that's fair. You didn't even remember what we did on the last episode.
I don't remember. I have a very bad memory. Paul's very good at remembering. He can remember every Smallville episode with the title.
I don't want to say it's a skill, but
all right. So let's rewind real quick back to 1991. Oliver Stone is fresh off of directing 3 movies pretty much back to back: Platoon, Born on the Fourth of July, and Wall Street. And Platoon garnered him Best Picture, Best Director awards. Born on the Fourth of July got him Best Director. Wall Street, I don't know if it was as big of a success as it was then, but it's become like a cult classic now with Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen.
What about Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf, oh my God, I forgot about that. But so he was like the hot big director at his time. So he was able to, talk Warner Brothers into allowing him to make this movie, which is based on the court case out of New Orleans. Former district attorney down there, Jim Garrison, was basically himself looking into the assassination of Kennedy and who was involved. And he actually brought someone to trial. He brought a man named Clay Shaw to trial for the assassination and really tried to point out all of the, controversies and things that were involved. Nothing came of it. Clay Shaw was acquitted, and Jim Garrison was mainly, I guess you could say, really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, lambasted for what he did, taking taxpayer money, threatening witnesses. A lot of people think he went after Shaw mainly because Shaw was homosexual. So he wasn't the, cleanest guy in the world. So a lot of people were giving Stone grief that he decided to make a movie from this guy's point of view. What do you, in terms of when you first saw this movie, like, did you know anything about the storyline?
I knew enough about the conspiracy theories of JFK. I didn't know too much about this I didn't know that this actually happened, this trailer. I just thought, or not, trial, excuse me. For me, it was more just like, I know that, at the time I knew all the conspiracy theories, the grassy knoll, all that type of stuff, but I didn't know that all this stuff was going on. And anytime like they did evidence, that every documentary just kind of presented as their own evidence, like, hey, we figured this out. They didn't. Come on. Like, I still firmly believe that the assassination was much more than just one guy at a book depository with a rifle. Could I be wrong? Sure. But I think, in all honesty, it was the babushka lady. She did it. Do they mention her in this? I feel like they mention her in this.
I think she's in a deleted scene, but like the director's cut, I think she's mentioned. But in the theatrical cut, I don't think they reference her.
It was her all along, the babushka. There was a gun inside the babushka. Or there's also the guy with the other video camera.
The umbrella.
The umbrella.
Video camera, the umbrella.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm gonna rule out the umbrella guy because as somebody with very sensitive fair skin, if I am out in the sunlight for too long, I think I die. I'm like a lazy vampire where I don't kill people and or drink their blood, but if you put me out in the sun for too long, damn son.
That's an image. Yep, you do burn very easily.
I should get a parasol. I should do like a Southern Belle type thing,
Oh yeah, with the sun hat, it's like tilted over your face.
Why would I don't get why you need a sun hat if you have the parasol?
Yeah.
See, it's funny. Whenever you see behind the scenes pictures of especially like superhero movies nowadays, you know how many times Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth were under umbrellas because they were in costume and it was hot? You know what? It's a manly thing. I'm gonna own it. I'm just gonna own it at this point.
Okay, that's fine. All right, let's jump into the cast of this movie because really, when you look back on it, this cast is amazing.
This is a stacked cast.
This is probably one of the most stacked casts you'll ever see in a movie, unless it's like up there with movies like The Longest Day, Mad World. Just I wouldn't call it star-studded, but it is just solid actors in almost every role. So we have the star of the movie is no doubt Kevin Costner playing the character of Jim Garrison. I mean, this is Costner straight off of Dances with Wolves. He's probably one of the hottest actors in Hollywood at the time. He leads the movie. He is that good to be able to hold this movie on his own, basically. And the trial scene alone at the end of the movie, the last, I want to say 45 minutes of him just speaking. I mean, it's probably some of his best acting. It really is.
Oh, it's definitely top. What's a better courtroom scene, this or A Few Good Men with You Can't Handle the Truth?
Two totally different types of scenes, but I mean, if you put a gun to my head, I'd have to say A Few Good Men just because it's Jack Nicholson. It's so good. But this scene is pretty damn good itself. And, intertwined is the editing with all the flashback scenes of the actual assassination. So it's just so well put together where Few Good Men is just basically it's just straight shot there right on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
But both great scenes. I mean, hands down, both of them are fantastic courtroom scenes. We have Kevin Bacon as the character of Willie O'Keefe. You see him for maybe a whopping 20 minutes in the entire movie, but
and he's got like
he gives
second
such a
billing.
great performance. Yeah, because I mean, he was again also fairly big actor at the time. Tommy Lee Jones as Clay Shaw. He actually earned an Oscar nomination for his performance
It's
in
gonna
this
be a
movie.
sad day when we lose Tommy Lee Jones.
Nah, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna be doing a marathon of The Fugitive, Men in Black, U.S.
We should
Marshals.
do an episode on Tommy Lee Jones.
Batman Forever.
Oh yeah, that's right. Him and Jim Carrey didn't get along. It still breaks my heart.
Well, he didn't get along with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey didn't get along. Tommy Lee Jones was just an angry old man for some reason. I don't know.
It must be hard to
there.
be rich and famous. I mean, I guess.
I guess. We have Laurie Metcalf as Susie Cox. Now, I don't know if many people out there will recognize the name, but if you watch Roseanne or The Conners, Scream 2, fantastic actress. And then we have the man himself, Gary Oldman, as Lee Harvey Oswald.
Mm-hmm.
He is so good in this movie. I mean, he embodies Lee Harvey Oswald. If you see footage of Lee Harvey Oswald, you're like, holy crap, it's Gary Oldman. Even to the voice, he does such a good job.
So good.
Here's a name Paul will love to hear about: Michael Rooker as Bill Broussard. He was, I want to say, fairly new to movies at the time, but he gets a decently high billing in this movie. J.O. Sanders, who will always have a place in our hearts as the a-hole radio announcer from Angels in the Outfield. Sissy Spacek plays Liz Garrison, Jim's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Pesci in an uncredited role as the character of David Ferry.
I love Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci's one of those guys that you could put him in any period. Like, as long as he's playing like a mafia-esque type character, I'm all about it.
Well, I remember the first time I saw this movie, because again, he's not in the credits, so you have no idea he's in the movie. And then all of a sudden, this guy walks into an office and he's got the horrible wig on and the eyebrows, and he looks ridiculous. But then you actually see pictures of the actual guy. He looks exactly like him. I mean, it's so ridiculous looking that you're like, this can't be real. But yeah, no, it was exactly how the character looked.
Jeez, Joe Pesci's 80 years old.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Oh no, oh my god, all these guys, like, it's so sad.
And then we have smaller appearances throughout the movie from some famous stars. We have Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, Donald Sutherland, Ed Asner, Ryan Doyle Murray, John Candy, Wayne Knight, Vincent D'Onofrio, and that's about
it's the biggest,
for the major names. And then Martin Sheen is actually the narrator of the opening title scene. And but yeah, it is like every other scene. There's like this famous actor appearing in this movie because it was a hot topic for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people want to be involved in this. They wanted to. Whether you believed the conspiracies or you didn't believe the conspiracies, they just wanted to be involved in this movie. I mean, the extent that Stone went to recreate Dealey Plaza, actually on the site, I mean, it's unbelievable. If you watch the behind the scenes of the making of this movie, they reenacted the assassination. They did all of that. It was crazy.
It's so well put together. Like, again, my knowledge base of all this visually especially was like a couple of documentaries here and there, but like I wasn't actively watching any of this stuff, and they put a lot of effort. Even like your basic documentary puts in a lot of effort for all this stuff. So to have like a big movie budget, they had a budget of 40 mil, and they quintupled it.
Which back then, I mean, that's a lot for back then. Now we look at that going like that's nothing.
Oh yeah, wild, right?
Yeah. Well, the movie garnered obviously plenty of controversy. A lot of people were attacking the movie for months before it was released. You could argue that maybe helped it in its release. Maybe it didn't help it. It ended up making $205 million which is pretty good for back then.
Oh, I mean, they again on a budget of 40 million, that's 5 times their budget. They won.
Yeah.
At least Warner Brothers didn't have to write them off as a tax rebate too soon.
Well, didn't they reverse their decision again, or they're shopping the stupid Coyote John Cena?
Oh, Wile E. Coyote versus Acme or whatever it is.
Coyote.
I heard it's fantastic, and it's like done. Yeah. For those of you guys who don't know, we're talking.
Batgirl, like
Yeah.
They're gonna see it.
For those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about, WB is under investigation for shelving their completed movies for tax rebates, so that way they're not at a loss. And apparently,
they're actually under investigation.
They're actually under investigation.
Good.
You can't do that. Apparently, you do it once.
So I want to definitely also point out, because I know we're harping for time here. Major things with this movie that I think deserve kudos are the editing and the cinematography. The editing in this movie I think it's groundbreaking. I think it's something maybe we're more used to nowadays with these big action movies, the jump cuts, the really quick edit moves. I don't think you saw that back in that time. So like, you're watching this movie and it's jumping from color to black and white, from present to past, almost seamlessly.
You never feel like you don't know what part of the story you're watching, and that's a testament to it. Because like a lot of times, typically when you do flashbacks or out of time experiences, there's some sort of cinematic difference, and it's usually it's a color grading, and they'll usually establish it in the very beginning. So like it'll be like the most simple way to do it from a technical standpoint is the camera's on the main character who makes a statement about a past event, and then the camera stays on the main character but shifts color tone or something along those lines, or fades in to another shot with a different palette, and that's how you establish, hey, this is what timeline A looks like, the main timeline, this is what timeline B, the subplot, or the, I guess, what's a good way to, like, the past timeline looks like.
Yeah.
And typically, the past is shown a little bit darker, like almost like a black and whitish, because obviously
black and white, grittier.
And for the future, they usually do
like a home video.
Yeah, the future they usually do brighter colors.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's throughout the entire movie. I mean, there are some just amazing editing uses in this movie throughout, and it really adds to the movie. It makes it more. What's the word? Gets you involved more. It makes you feel a little like, oh wow, what's coming? I don't know what's coming. Like there's none of these like long drawn out.
Well, let's not forget.
Even in the
even in the trailer.
No, go ahead.
Well, let's not forget. A lot of people didn't know, like myself included. I didn't know about all this stuff. I just knew the conspiracies. I didn't know that there was an actual courtroom procession that challenged the Warren Commission about all this stuff. So to see it, even though you know, like, of the biggest conspiracy, like everybody knew about the grassy knoll, but not everybody knew that like all these things were challenged. I still say it was an assassination, but that's just me. I know nothing except color differences between the past and future in movies. That's what I know. I don't claim to know any more. I don't claim to know any less. I also know that Jack Ruby is really well portrayed in this by Gary Oldman, because Gary Oldman's a cinematic treasure.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Him too. I was on a roll and I just kept going.
You were on a roll. I wasn't gonna, but
no, thanks for correcting me when I was done.
No, you're good. You're good. And we also have to note that this is the first time I think any audiences had seen the Zapruder film.
Oh yeah.
It was immediately bought by Time Life right after the assassination, and I think Oliver Stone was able to somehow get it. Either, I don't know if well, actually, let me rephrase that. It was seen in the trial back in the 60s, but like to the general audience, it was the first time anybody had ever really seen the actual Zapruder film. So I mean, you see everything.
Oh yeah, it's one of the first. It's one of the most televised assassinations of all time. Like it's wild to see how much and also like the thing about this was also the first media frenzy about this type of thing, because the last assassination, correct me if I'm wrong, was Lincoln?
McKinley.
They didn't have footage of it. Like there was no video.
No, you had newspapers.
And for for the JFK assassination, you have video footage of the actual assassination and the murder of Jack Ruby.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
I keep doing that. By Jack Ruby. The murder committed by Jack Ruby, who was a nightclub owner. I don't know why I keep doing that. Lee Harvey Oswald, Paul. Because it was actually Jack Ruby all along. I knew it. I cracked the case.
But
JFK
you were so
solved.
Sure of it. The way you were like,
so sure of it.
Like, but All right. So we talked about the editing. I want to give a quick shout out to the cinematography of this movie. Robert Richardson, who's done a lot of Scorsese movies. He's been around forever, but the aspect ratio of the movie changes throughout. I mean, the opening scene is done in a 1.33. It's kind of to simulate TV screens because that's how people saw, all the footage of this back in the day. You were watching Walter Cronkite on CBS. You were whoever
Walter
news
Cronkite.
person you were watching at the time. You were watching all the interviews with all the people, all the witnesses and stuff. And then it gradually changes to the 1.85, which is like true, you know, cinematic form. But it's very much like the editing. Cinematography just adds to the movie, black and white, color,
Oh,
these
10
effects
trillion
that make
percent.
it look grainy. It's so good. And we gotta music. John Williams. It's
Who?
another notch on his belt.
John
He cre-
Williams.
he creates a score that is the definition of conspiracy. Like when you hear this music, it to me, if you're looking up the definition of this conspiracy, you would hear this music playing because it's just so well done. And a great kind of presidential theme at the beginning of the movie, but then throughout the rest of the movie, it's this very, nervous, kind of doesn't know what's about to happen type of score. Very, very well done.
And
This movie is just overall, it's just so good. It
and
really is.
it led to like they reviewed all this stuff afterwards. Like this
It
movie,
did. It led the movie, yeah. It
like
led to evidence being opened up years before it was supposed to be, because the outcry after this movie, whether right or wrong, whether you believe it or you don't believe it, there were a lot of questions that weren't answered, at this time. So this movie really added to that, added to, a lot more, people looking into it. So it really was crazy. It really was.
I mean, this was for me. This was like the first and biggest example of the JFK assassination in film. They've done it
Mhm.
a ton of other times. Like this movie, just this movie alone, apparently it was referenced twice in Family Matters.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
The movie?
apparently the film is referenced twice in the '90s sitcom Family Matters by Waldo Faldo. I remember Waldo. And
Yeah.
he pronounces the name literally. During a date with Laura, he says, "We should have seen Jaka." Like he pronounces it as it's spelled. Oh, God, he's so stupid. I love it. And when Laura corrects him and says, "You mean JFK," he goes, "I know how it's spelled." The second time was following his date with Maxine, where the movie choices were either Malcolm X, which he believes stood for the Roman numeral 10, or Jaka. That's actually really funny.
It's awesome. I didn't watch Family Matters that much when I was younger, so I've
Family
never
Matters was
actually
one of
seen
those
that.
shows that we kind of caught towards the tail end of its popularity.
Yeah,
But
but also, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're not much of a Seinfeld, fanatic, but this movie was spoofed in a very memorable episode of Seinfeld where they spoofed the courtroom scene with magic bullet theory, and instead of it being a bullet, it's Kramer and Newman were spit on by who they believe to be the former Mets player Keith Hernandez, and they recreate the whole magic bullet theory. I mean, it's hysterical. It really is.
well, I like when they do other things like Watchmen. They show that the comedian was actually the shooter from the grassy knoll.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see.
didn't they? And Zoolander did something where the I think the assassination of JFK was done by a male
By male
model.
models because it cuts to them doing the face. Apparently, in the MCU, in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, it's revealed that the Winter Soldier was the one who killed JFK on orders of Hydra.
Wow.
X-Men: Days of Future Past. Magneto's arrested for trying to. They think he's trying to kill JFK, but he actually
He was trying to save him.
because he was a mutant. I like stuff like that. That's always a good time.
Yeah, no, when they make nods to that's I always like that when you're actually making nods to actual history and stuff like that, and it really does add to it.
Now, also,
But
fast forward
mhm.
July 12th, 2021, at the Cannes Film Festival, JFK Revisited Through the Looking Glass was released by Oliver Stone.
Yeah, I actually watched that. That was pretty good. It was just kind of a look back on the assassination itself. I thought it was going to be more of a behind the scenes of the movie,
Yeah, no, it's
but
actually
it was an
about the.
actual. Yeah, it was an actual relook into the assassination. They just had on National Geographic. They just did a 3 episode new documentary called JFK One Day in America, and it's very well done. It doesn't go all into the conspiracies at all. It's just a straight minute to minute recreation of what happened that day, and they find like all this old footage, they touch it up, colorize it, make it look really new. Very well done. I highly recommend it. It's on Disney Plus or Hulu if anyone out there wants to watch it.
Nothing says good family fun quite like
watching that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like this movie also shows like people watched all this happen in real time. Like for us,
I know.
For us, we like for those of you guys who don't know, Sean and I are later millennials. We are at the tail end of the millennial spectrum. For us, it was 9/11. That was our JFK. Like Sean mentioned it before. Like we watched that happen in real life, in real time. Like I remember we were in school and the teachers were pulling TVs into the library, like the TVs on the wheels that used to mean like a fun time in class because you were going to watch a movie.
Yeah.
And even now, like they still have evidence that they're trying to collect. Like I think they got some of the footage from that day, but I don't remember. In 1970,
we're talking about JFK or 9/11?
JFK, 9/11, and that's the thing. Nowadays, if something like this would happen, you'd have 5 trillion phones already with video of this.
Oh God, not even. I mean, Jesus, I can't even imagine.
Like they spent forever just trying to find.
I mean, there was only like people with cameras. They had to find everybody who had a camera and all that stuff, and that was about it.
Is it weird that the footage of the assassination, for some reason, just because of the style, reminds me of the famous Bigfoot footage of him walking in the forest? Just because it's got a very similar type graininess to it.
Yeah.
But
this was a good little discussion. I enjoyed this very much.
Now,
you got anything else to add?
Star City rating for JFK. I feel like it's going to be, for you, it's going to be a 4.5 to a 5.
I'm going to go 4.5.
Have you given a 5 yet? I know. I
have. I can't remember what I gave a 5 to.
Grandma's Boy.
No. No.
It's a 5 in our hearts.
I'm pretty sure I gave a 5 to something. I think it was something, maybe it might have been Empire.
Oh, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, maybe. That's actually probably a solid choice.
But I give this movie a solid 4.5. This movie is always been on my top 10, top 5 list of movies I love. It's in rewatchability. It's tough because it's so long.
How long is this movie?
I'd say like 3.5 hours.
Is it that long? Holy crap!
Yeah. I think director's cut might be even longer.
The running time is 188 minutes, and the director's cut is 205.
Yeah. So director's cut is wow. The director's cut's 3 hours and 45 minutes. The theatrical cut was 3 hours and 8 minutes. So
I don't have enough time in the week to do this.
It was one of those. Remember back in the day with the VHSs, it was a 2 VHSer.
Oh, was it? It was like Titanic.
Yeah, it was a 2 VHSer. It was. You knew you were in for a long time when you had the 2 VHSs. It was great.
Where can you stream this movie?
Max, I believe it's on Max.
Nope, it's on Stupid Tubi.
Really? It's not on Max. It was.
It says Tubi and then Rent or Buy on Prime.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it was on Max at some point.
That's the thing that bothers me the most about all these streaming services. They're like, hey, watch this movie for now.
Well, yeah, it's like every month they got to change it up a little bit. Unless you're Disney Plus, where you just leave everything on it and never take anything off. Seriously, which I guess you could say is good and bad.
It's not on HBO Max. I typed in JFK, and the 6th thing is Naked Gun 33 and a third, so obviously that makes sense. But I'm going to give this movie a solid 4. It is a good time. No alcohol required. You might need an energy drink like I had beforehand.
Oh, yeah. I would not recommend starting this movie after 8 o'clock at night. You'll be
after 6 o'clock at night, buddy.
Yeah.
No.
Well, 6 o'clock.
No. You will not argue this one. Considering you and I are probably in bed by like 8:30 on a good night.
That's very true. It's very true. It's so sad, but it's true.
Yeah. Well, if people want more of our content, Sean, do you want to tell them, or you want me to tell them how they can get more of our stuff?
They love hearing it from you, Paul. You go ahead.
No, they don't, but they're gonna. So if you guys like our content and you want to hear more, make sure you go to our website, themisfitfaction.com. You'll find links to all of our other shows and also our news, reviews, articles, and more. You can also find us on all of the social media. We're on the Instagram, the Twitter, or the X if you're feeling bougie, TikTok, Facebook, just type in Cinematic Adventures or the Misfit Faction. Odds are you'll find some of our stuff. We are working on some new design projects because producer Melanie just got Canva Pro for the year, so we're going to take advantage of it.
She got what?
Canva. She did the Pro edition of Canva. So Be ready to see. She's already redesigning logos.
Cool.
So there will be new shirts for Cinematic Adventures coming up because that's the logo that I want to redesign the most.
Alrighty.
But when I told her,
do we have a? Go ahead.
When I told her I wanted 2 film canisters, like right on the top, and make them look like, lady parts, I was told, shut up. And much more colorful language. Anywho, we do not have Fan Feedback Friday because we are recording early this week.
Yeah, look at us. We actually are going to have an episode a week in advance.
At time of recording, next week's Thanksgiving. I love you, but I don't want to hang out with you.
Thanksgiving.
Close enough. Don't be like that. Why you gotta be like that? Next week I'm off today. All right, a week from today I'm off.
We can record on Producer Melly's birthday.
I'm not looking forward to being divorced. Thank you very much. But anyway, would you like to wrap up the episode, Sean?
Oh yeah. What else do I gotta say? As always, I'm Sean.
And I'm Paul.
And we hope you guys have a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Paul, and the Misfit Faction is looking for your help. We are trying to grow not only our network, but also grow our brands, and the best way to do that is if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast. Maybe you guys have been listening to us for a while. Maybe it's something you guys have always wanted to do, but you're not sure how to get started. If you go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys will get a month of free podcasting on us. That is a gift from us. So make sure if you guys are looking to start your own show, you reach out to us and go to podbean.com/misfitfaction. Also, maybe you guys have your own online business or service that you're always looking to grow, and advertising is a very big part of that. If you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising, again, as a thank you from us to you guys. That's sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction.